Welcome to yet another fun-filled event
Technology.
of Workshop Wednesday shenanigans. And since it's St.
That's what it
Patrick's Day,
is. That's what's
right.
happening.
Right.
I'm
I'm Dan O'Long and
Carrie
Gary
O'Con.
Leprechaun.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And I don't know if you can tell, but Carrie is wearing green today.
I'm wearing green. Of course, I don't have the closest to green is this color. Kind of got a CBG green going on here. I am wearing this is only have two things that are green in my drawer. So there you go.
Your entire wardrobe. But St. Patrick's Day, happy St. Patrick's Day. That plus COVID, day drinking is okay in the normal.
This is just like a tea.
Right.
This is close as you get when you're working.
My coffee really isn't purple.
It's not purple. Does it have Bailey's in it? Irish cream.
It might be wine. But it's coffee.
Well, for St. Patrick's Day, it makes sense.
Right. So we're gonna kick off. We're going to kick off another Workshop Wednesday series of tools, and we're going to be talking about accountant tools because accountants and bookkeepers with schoolofbookkeeping.com. We talked a little bit a couple workshops ago about cleanup work, quote unquote cleanup work. We had Licio on to talk about how you can engage with your clients and help you make that cleanup work and get that information on a faster basis. But now that you have all that information, what do you do with it, right? So we're gonna talk about desktop mostly today. So notice how Carrie just lightens up when we say we're going to talk about desktop today.
Oh, good.
Because the accountant tools inside a desktop are pretty phenomenal. And when I worked at Intuit, the lack of exposure to the accountant tools was pretty surprising. I worked in the accountant customer care team or success team or whatever they're calling it these days. Yeah, my old school was it was tech support, right? You needed technical support and you called the Pro Advisor hotline, right? But when I would mention that these tools existed, a lot of people just really didn't know that they existed at all. I'm like, I can do that? Yeah, it saves a lot of time. And I just discovered one of the tools within the last week and wanted to really kind of focus on that because we did a workshop maybe a couple months ago about the situation is that, okay, you want to choose a start and make just like one big adjusting entry. How do you do that? And we have on schoolbookkeeping.com, we have an Excel spreadsheet that you can download. You can download the trial balance, export it in a report. You can put it in the Excel spreadsheet, find whatever it is that you're trying to adjust to, and then the Excel spreadsheet will make the adjusting entry for you, and then you can use something like Transaction Pro to import that back into QuickBooks online. But actually, there is a tool built right into QuickBooks Desktop.
What do you know?
That actually does just that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So Gary, if you want to go ahead.
I had something to say.
Oh.
So this is something, I think this can be the day of where we share something that you think, wow, how come I didn't know that? So this is something that I'll share. And I'm sure you already knew this, Dan, but this was something I didn't learn today. I learned about a year ago. So oftentimes people are coming to us because we can sell the software and so forth. And they'll come to us and say, I need the accountant edition for my customer. Well, the end user is not allowed to buy the accountant edition. They've really cracked down on that. The only time we can do that if there's some significant reason that they have to have a tool that's in there, but they've pretty much moved all of those tools into the regular QuickBooks Enterprise. And I don't know if it's in Pro and Premier, but I know it's an Enterprise. So what the accountants can do is they can log in with their user ID, connect up their Pro Advisor account. This is for paid Pro Advisors, and Shazam, without having to put them in the accountant edition, they can get those tools, almost all of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and actually you can do that in Pro and Premier as well. Even if you're not if your client's not in Enterprise, but there is a caveat. You can't see all the tools when you're logging in, but all of the tools should be in Enterprise. So
yeah,
one win for Enterprise, but you can still access the accountant tools in Pro and Premier as well. But you need to be a paid desktop Pro Advisor to be able to do that. So that's
which we highly recommend if you're going to be in those products too.
Yeah. If you're going to be using and supporting clients using desktop, you should have desktop
certification, tools, and all the bells and whistles that come with it. So
right. So what we're going to talk about here is you're in the Enterprise Accountant Edition. So you're like not just the Enterprise Edition, not just the Accountant Edition. You're at the creme de la creme.
Yes, because I am a paid Pro Advisor, I get this. So this shows up in my menus.
Mm-hmm. So what we're going to talk about is client data review, because this is just something that a lot of people just didn't even know, don't know existed. So it should be on that menu there, the client data review. If you just access the first option that says client data review, it will bring up a kind of a wizard, right? So this is just something that you do as an accountant to do like at the end of a period, right? So this could be, your year-end review that you do, or maybe you do it monthly, but you do have to have access to the file to be able to do that. Now, they can send you the file. You can use the accountant's copy. There's all sorts of different ways to get the file to you. Or you could be remoting in like Carrie is doing here, just through the cloud, logging into their QuickBooks right there. Now, she's in a sample company, so she's a little time traveler there, going to the year 2024.
I have to interrupt. I hope that's a better year. So there you go.
Right. Exactly. So you would choose a time period that you're reviewing.
Okay.
And then you would choose the basis, whether it's cash or accrual, and then whether or not you're going to be, keeping notes in the review, and then you'd hit start review. And what this does is it brings up a list of tools and tasks that you can do as an accountant. So you can just kind of see the way it's kind of broken out. The little icon there, if you can't make that out, that's an actual wrench.
It's a wrench right there.
That icon there to let you know that this is a tool, and the tool's not available outside of CDR, Client Data Review. So you have to access the Client Data Review to see the tool, with the caveat of, yes, if you're a Pro Advisor, you can log in as the accountant and see some of these tools, right? So there's cleanup tasks. So boom, there was your clean up on aisle 9.
Yay.
Troubleshoot prior account balances. So this is really cool, right?
Go
ahead and click. Right. So as you're doing reviews, right? So let's say you already did last year, and they sent you the file for the end of this year. What this will do is we'll take a lot of the guesswork out of, well, don't type anything in there, Carrie.
Oh, I'm all ready to just make up numbers, see?
Right, but what happens is that when you put a client date, when you do your client data review, that kind of puts a date stamp and kind of like the accountant seal of approval when it comes to, okay, we're buttoned up, we're done here for last year, we've done the review. Then when you get the file again, and you're doing full, what it's going to do is look for changes during the period that you've reviewed already, and it will highlight them already in here. So it, say balances in the client's file, those are debits and credits there for every account that's on the balance sheet, and then the balance in accountant's records will be put in there from the last client data review. So you'll see if there's the difference, right? So as Carrie, quickly did, she just typed in a number of 24,000 because this is something that you can do as an adjustment entry, right? So if you have last year's tax return, or if you have, something that you want to, a trial balance that you're trying to connect, the QuickBooks balances and tie those two together, you could just type the numbers in here. So go ahead, Carrie. I give you blessing to type in any random numbers in here. So if you just go down the list and type in, some numbers that you have, obviously you're using something to work off of here in QuickBooks. As you type in numbers in there, you can see what QuickBooks is doing there, and the difference is isolating the differences.
Right.
And not only that, once you're done with all of this,
Yes.
there's an option there in the lower left, only show accounts with different balances. So that will just consolidate the list to do that, or to show you only the ones that have different balances from the last time that you reviewed it. If there is a different balance, what will happen here is you can click on the difference, and QuickBooks will show a report of the transactions that made up the difference. So maybe they changed the amount, maybe they misdated a transaction, those types of things. But getting back to what we're talking about here is that you can just go down the list here, put in your account balances that the way they should be, and then as Carrie wants to do, click on view suggested adjustments.
I don't.
Boom! It creates the adjusting journal entry for you, right? It's even marked as an adjusting entry. You can change your
balance. So
the entry, the entry number here. Now go ahead and save it.
I can't because it's not in balance.
Well, yeah. Well, so you'd have to make you did accounts receivable, so you got to put a name in there.
So it's
you can just delete the line.
Part of the thing about, yeah, that's true. Part of the thing when you're selecting some of these, the pro advisor in me is like, accounts receivable in QuickBooks is, it's a customer. So, and inventory is an item, and savings and checking might be an outstanding check. So, at least some of these things, employee advances, you could just leave that. That's about the only one that I'm okay with.
This is just for demonstrative purposes only.
Anyway, you can get yourself all crazy in here, but at least it's doing that. It's
making quick work for you, so you don't have to figure out what the difference is and then calculate your journal entry for you. Now, as Carrie astutely pointed out, this balance or this transaction is not in balance. The debits don't equal the credits. So, what would you suggest doing, to make this balance?
ask my accountant until I figure it out.
Right. You can create a wash account or clearing account. Ask the tax accountant where this should go, because okay,
Yeah.
this is what I have, to actually go off of, and I'm trying to make this balance, and it's not balancing based on this adjusting entry, so
Right.
I'll have to put something in the debits somewhere.
Right.
You know,
And if it's going to touch retained earnings, that's where we're like, ask your tax person who's doing your taxes, because you don't want to ever touch retained earnings. You want to match what they have and have them guide you. So
right.
that's why I'll put it somewhere where I can get some guidance.
Right.
Or
Now-
you might have to
now
ask the customer. It might be ask the customer, why was employee advances off? And let's see their
Yep.
workflow.
Right. This might raise some questions,
Yes.
or more so than get you answers. But in
Yeah.
order to make this put a bow on this, we need to get the debits equaling the credits of the journal entry. You know how to use the QuickBooks calculator?
I sure do. I'm all tangled up in myself here. So, yeah, so we have the, yes, it's not doing that, but yeah.
Minus. There you go. So as soon as you start typing numbers in there and use
In any number
a
field.
mathematic operator, minus, plus, times, or whatever, QuickBooks will bring up a little calculator right in there, and then you just do the math there for you. And once you tab out, it actually does the math.
Oh, it wants you to reverse, not this one. Okay.
Right. So it created the entry for you. Now,
and looking here, Dan, it noticed that accounts receivable, I didn't touch it. So it left it alone. And I can go, you know what? Let's leave that alone. So
right. What was I thinking?
What was I thinking? Let's not touch AR.
Now, let's say you're doing this on your machine. Client is busy working in their own machine, and you just created a journal entry. How do you get that journal entry to them?
That sounds like a trick question. So I think over here in the land of where you do account and copy, can you send a journal entry?
It's much more easier than that now. This is the thing. You're
right here.
Yeah.
Send journal entry.
Look at that. So if all you're doing is creating journal entries, you don't need to do the whole accountant's copy process, because as Carrie will probably tell you, many a horror story of when the adjusting entries that you're doing in your file don't get back into QuickBooks on the receiving end of that, or the client canceled the accountant's copy without telling you, and all your work is down the drain. So if you're only doing journal entries, QuickBooks has and it's the accountant version only, has the ability to send journal entries to anyone. And these are actually not version dependent. So if you send a journal entry to, if you're working in a client's file, it's 2021, or if you're working in your file, it's 2021, and they're working in 2018, it'll still go in.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you choose send journal entries, do you remember the date of the transaction that you just did? We weren't paying attention. I think it was 12/31.
Yeah, I think it's this one. No, that's depreciation, but it was
It's the FAM one. Yeah.
I thought it was the FAM one, but it sure wasn't that. But anyway, all right. Can it be that one?
It can be. I mean, this will bring up a listing of every. I think it was actually 2023, because the period.
Oh, that's a good catch there.
Tab.
Okay, and
There's
it was
FAM.
this one.
There it is.
So
there's your adjusting journal entry that you created. Now you just
email is attached.
You can email it out of your QuickBooks. If your email's set up, it will actually send it, but probably you're not. But you can just hit save as file.
Okay.
Right, and that's going to then create Qbj file, which is a QuickBooks journal entry file.
How many of these? Okay, well, we have restrictions there, but yes. Oh, there it is. It's
There.
saving it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, stuff I don't need. There we go. So I can save that. It goes on my desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's trying to replace my.
There's a file that's already exists in that area.
Oh, so somebody's already played.
Just say no there. Just say
Okay.
no there.
Anyway, all right. Just
and
say
then
no.
just say change your file name to test journal or something.
Gotta just zoom to the front like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. So then I can go send that.
Mhm.
I just do it as an attachment, and then they can bring
You
it
can
in.
send it as an attachment. You can put it in your client portal, wherever however you're going to get that to the client. And then all they do is they double click on it when they're in QuickBooks. They'll come up with a screen that says, what do you want to do with that? And then there'll be a button in the lower right that says add JGE. And then
Okay.
it goes right in. So that's a quick and easy way to actually create adjusting entries in desktop and sending those adjusting entries to your clients. And again, that doesn't require you to log in to their file. You can just get a backup of their company file portable, however they're gonna send the file. As long as you're only making journal entries, you can use this tool to be able to do that. And that's just one of the tools. Now,
That's it? That's the only one? No.
that's the only one that we're going to talk about today because we're already at 20.
Oh.
So there is no such tool like this in desktop, or I'm sorry, in QuickBooks Online.
Really?
No, nothing at all. But we've again, that's where we've created the Excel template, the Excel trial balance template to be able to do that, to help you do that.
Right.
On our.
So we've basically duplicated this idea.
Right. And until it comes into QuickBooks Online accountant options, this is a great place to start.
Yes.
So I put a link there to the workshop that we did of how to do that in QuickBooks Online. But we're going to go through some of these tools a little bit more in detail. For those that exist in QuickBooks Online, we'll talk about them. But for the most part, this client data review is something that accountants didn't even know existed or utilized.
Right.
But it actually is a really great way to work with desktop clients and kind of put your seal of approval on a closed, on a period in review, and then makes it a lot easier to update or find what your client has done the next time that you go to review it, because you've kind of closed the books in that case, but it doesn't close it. They can obviously still make some changes in their file,
Right.
but it makes it easier to do some of the detective work when you're using the client data review.
Yes. Awesome.
So any last parting words, Carrie?
No,
Other than yes, awesome.
Honestly, I need to learn too. And I use small things in here like reclassify, a vendor to the same thing to be consistent, but I don't really dig in like I should with this. And I think I'm not alone. If anybody hears me, do you do it too? You skip over this?
But this is going to be a great ad in this coming year when you're doing your course this year about cleanup work.
Yeah.
So we'll add these tips and tools, time saving tips into that course. So you'll be looking forward to that in the coming year.
That's right.
So until next week, have a happy St. Patrick's Day.
And may you have more than just tea today, if that's your thing.
Right. Whatever is green.
Whatever's green. That's right. So I hope you continue to have a lucky day.
Right. And we'll see you next time on Workshop Wednesday.
Till next week. Bye.